fastest. Welcome to NBC's coverage of the Breeders' Cup from one of America's most storied tracks, Santa Anita Park in Arcadia, California. In racing's golden age, this is where Hollywood and the horses met. Many of the biggest names in show business were regulars here. And in fact, people like Spencer Tracy, Bing Crosby, and Errol Flynn owned horses that ran at Santa Anita. In the late 1930s, Santa Anita was Seabiscuit's home track. In 2003, more than 60 years after the Biscuit ran and won his last race here, the Depression-era legend galloped across movie screens in the very popular film adaptation of Laura Hillenbrand's lyrical book. The renewed public fascination with Seabiscuit, coupled with Funnyside's improbable run at the Triple Crown, seemed to restore some of horse racing's luster. And in fact, Funnyside will be here today running in the Breeders' Cup Classic. It's already been an eventful week at Santa Anita. On Tuesday, the track marked the passing of the great Willie Shoemaker with a moving memorial service. The Shoe was a 4'11" giant who, like Seabiscuit, achieved a kind of popularity and acclaim that transcended his sport. Millions who never picked up a racing form knew and loved Willie Shoemaker, a man once described by the great sports writer Jim Murray as a guy who rode a horse the way DiMaggio played a fly ball or Sinatra sang a ballad with ease and grace, as if he were born to do it. Shoemaker is part of the pantheon here at Santa Anita, along with Johnny Longden and Lafitte Pincay. There's certainly plenty of history here, and perhaps more to be made today, as we bring you the 2003 Breeders' Cup.
The San Gabriel Mountains providing the perfect backdrop for one of the most majestic venues in the horse racing world, Santa Anita Park in Arcadia, California, where the Oak Tree meeting is underway and where today the 20th Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships will unfold. The third time Santa Anita has hosted Championship Day, but the first time in 10 years. Seabiscuit had some of his greatest moments here, and in those days, Santa Anita, with its close proximity to Hollywood, was a regular playground for the stars, and so it is again today. Gary Stevens travels in both worlds after his role in the Seabiscuit movie. He'll be back in the saddle today, along with other proven box office attractions, including Julie Crone in the midst of a sensational comeback. The headline performer in the trainer ranks has been Bobby Frankel, who could shatter several records today. And don't forget the four-legged stars like Funnyside, with his down-to-earth owners and 2 wins in the Triple Crown. Well, it's a beautiful day so far. The temperature right now, 62 degrees, but don't be misled by that. The weather has been unseasonably hot in Southern California. In fact, this week, the temperature has reached triple digits, and we're expecting it to be up in the 90s today before we're finished at Santa Anita, and it could be a factor for some of the horses that have come from cooler weather areas. The current temperature is 62, but scheduled to climb at least into the 90s today. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Santa Anita. I'm Tom Hammond, and it certainly is difficult to believe that this is the 20th edition of the Breeders' Cup, a concept devised by horseman John Gaines, and a series that has produced some of the greatest moments in the history of racing. For a while, it appeared that this 20th Breeders' Cup would be more notable for the horses that were absent, retired, or injured, like Mineshaft, Candy Ride, Empire Maker, and Azeri. But now, poised for the beginning of the 8-race, $14 million day, it's obvious that virtually all of the year-end championships will be decided on the track today, including Horse of the Year. And as always, we get right to the action with the Distaff. The first race today for the fillies and mares, notable by her absence, is Azeri, the reigning Horse of the Year, who won the Distaff last year on her way to claiming that title. Here are the current odds. Take Charge Lady at 6-1, Adoration a long shot. Lady Tack at 12, By the Sport has 30. Sight Seek, Bobby Frankel trained, 1-2, the favorites. Elo Love at 8-1, and Got Coco at 5-1. And there is a look at Sight Seek. And right now, Bob Newmeyer is with Bobby Frankel.
Well, how do you parlay $7 into $150 million? You are if you're trainer Bobby Frankel, and here is his magnificent filly Sight Seek, the 1-2 favorite in the Distaff, as Bobby starts to walk out of the paddock here at Santa Anita along with the horse This is an amazing guy. Again, he started with $7. He earned it as a caddy in New York. His mother took him to Aqueduct in those days. He began as a player and then a trainer. And here he is 40 years later with over $150 million in purses in his checkbook. Today, he has a chance to become the first trainer to ever win 24 Grade 1 races. He has 8 horses in 5 races, including Sightseek, the 1-2 favorite in the distaff you're about to see. Tom?
All right, Bob, and it's been an eventful month already for Bobby Frankel. He was married a little while ago, a couple of weeks ago, to Bonita Boniface. Now let's go down to Kenny Rice.
Thanks, Tom. If jockey Alex Solis didn't have an affinity for shark fin soup, then Los Angeles area restaurant owner Paul Leung would not have a horse here in the Breeders' Cup. Solis frequents Leung's restaurant, and he told him one day, Leung did, that I'd like to have a good horse. So Solis put him in touch with trainer Bruce Headley. The result of that, he bought half interest in Got Coco, who's won 5 out of 7 races over this track at Santa Anita. Her last time out, she upset the reigning horse of the year, Azeri. Over the years, Tom, we've seen people spend millions of dollars, take long years of arduous planning in the breeding process, but I think this is the first time that a guy has made it to the Breeders' Cup as an owner because he makes a good bowl of soup and he has a good horse in this race.
It'll be shark fin soup all around if Got Coco gets the money today, and there's been a recent buzz last couple of weeks about perhaps she could claim the older mare title should she win today. She did defeat Azeri, though she was getting weight that day. She ended Azeri's 11-race winning streak, and Azeri was discovered to have bled in the race and had an elevated white cell count and eventually was declared out of the distaff, but Got Coco with championship aspirations today. Always an exciting time before this first race. And the call riders up as Bobby Frankel gives a leg up to Jerry Bailey, who will be aboard the favorite Sightseek. And Frankel with a chance to break that record. So Frankel already holds the North American record for Grade 1 wins. And look at that. The next closest pursuer, trainer Todd Pletcher with 5. Bobby Frankel has 23. And should he win one of the Grade 1 races on today's 8-race card, he will have the international record. He's currently tied with Aidan O'Brien, the Irish trainer. O'Brien, by the way, is here today as well. There you see the scene and the scenic paddock here at Santa Anita as they make their way from the tunnel toward the track for our first race, the Breeders' Cup Distaff.
Andy, don't go there.
And we're joined now by Charles Canny. Charles, welcome once again. And we spoke earlier of the heat. It's been unseasonably warm and 100-degree temperatures. Horses coming from Europe and even from the East Coast of the United States have to be at a great disadvantage.
Well, horses are cold weather animals, and they can cope with heat and perform very well in the heat. But as long as they're acclimatized, it's the abrupt changes that get you in trouble. That's why everyone feels that the Europeans, and maybe even the horses from New York, might be vulnerable today. But I've watched these European horses train here all week, and every day they seem to have adjusted better and better. So it may not be as big an issue as we think.
The horses from Europe have started to grow their thick winter coats. Do they just clip that off?
Most of the European horses that have come in have been clipped. They've put fans on all of these horses in the afternoon. They get extra electrolytes, extra fluids, etc., to replace what they've sweated away. The real trouble will come after the race, if there is to be any trouble. That's when we'll see signs of distress, if the heat is a big factor.
And they'll keep a close eye on the horses today. Just like human athletes, they have to be careful in extreme heat. And there's a look at Sightseek. She's been sensational in recent weeks, and deservedly so, is the favorite. And she's currently at 3-5. And the first race on the card, the Distaff, presented by Nextel for fillies and mares 3 and up, Grade 1 race, $2 million. The purse, the distance is 1 mile and 1/8. And number 1 is Take Charge Lady, the 4-year-old filly trained by Ken McPeak, who was a disappointing 6th in the Distaff last year. And like last year, she tuned up with a victory in Keeneland Spinster. Consistent, she's been 1st or 2nd in 15 of her last 16 starts. Number 2 is Adoration, owned by John and Jerry Ammerman. John, the former CEO of Mattel, the toy maker. And Adoration, better than a wind-up toy. She's nevertheless a long shot. She does have good early speed. Number 3, Lady Tack. Trainer Steve Asmussen tries to join his brother Cash, the jockey, as a Breeders' Cup winner. They would be the first brother combo to do that. And this filly, winner of the Grade 1 Test Stakes, she has a shot at the 3-year-old filly title if she can handle the distance today. Number 4, By the Sport, another 3-year-old filly trained by former jockey Robert Barbara. She came over from Europe this summer, won the Gazelle, then was 3rd behind Sightseek in the Beldame. Number 5 is Sightseek, the hottest filly in the country, winner of 4 straight Grade 1 races, but she's 0 for 3 at Santa Anita. She's a half-sister to Tate's Creek, who runs in the filly and mare turf today. She could give Bobby Frankel that world record. The 6 horses, Elo Love, who showed a new dimension for trainer Craig Delassie when she rated behind the pace setters in the Ladies' Secret, though she was disqualified from 2nd to 4th in that race, has a chance to be named champion 3-year-old filly with a victory today. And completing the field, number 7 is Got Coco. That's a Hawaiian expression that means you have native island blood. She gets no respect. The Texas bred has 5 stakes wins. She's beaten both Horse of the Year Azeri and Sightseek. She's won 7 of 13, yet she has never been favored. And that's the field for the Breeders' Cup Distaff. Now let's join our handicappers, Mike Battaglia, Bob Newmeyer, to see how they analyze the race. Guys?
Well, the question everybody wants to know, Mike, is how do you pick a winner? Well, you can pick a lucky number or a color or a jockey. But I know you taught a class at Transylvania University.
Years ago,
this
Bob.
up in handicapping.
Yes, I did, and I used a little bit different method than picking names and colors. You know, though, it's very tough. The class is the most important thing. If a horse doesn't have a class to fit in that race, they're not going to win. I think pace is hugely important. Now, who's going to be in front? Who's going to come off? You look at recent form. You look at the distance of the race. You look at the jockey, the trainer. You look at the weights. You look at post position. There's just so many things that go into picking a winner.
I was only a student in that class. I'm a numbers guy. Speed figures and odds. Bang for your buck. In other words, the best horse at the best price. Sure, you use the speed figures to give you an idea who the contenders are, but you have to go against the flow, I think, to make money in this game, Mike, and that's a perfect lead into this race.
You are a madman, Bob. I'm going to go for the favorite in this race. I'm not trying to beat the favorite in this race. I like Sightseek. There she is on the track right now. Sightseek is going to be able to lay right off of this pace. I think the pace will be quick enough. Jerry Bailey's going to lay right back off of the early leaders. Her recent form, awesome. 4 straight Grade 1 wins. You already talked about Frankel. We talk about Bailey. That's a tough team to beat, Frankel and Bailey. And Sightseek, I don't like the price at 3 to 5 right now, but I think she's the winner.
Well, again, she's the obvious horse, but again, going against the flow, the key to make money at the racetrack. So, should the favorite falter? Elo Love is my choice. A recent sharp race over this very racetrack. She's up there at a square price of 8 to 1. So if you like the favorite, and Mike Battaglia does 98% of the time, he goes for Sightseek. I'll shop for Elo Love in the opener.
We ought to mention, too, Take Charge Lady, the top horse. This filly, mare, she's raced 20 times, 18 times she's been 1st or 2nd. She doesn't get respect. She's 6 to 1 today.
Now, when you taught at Transylvania, right?
I taught at Transylvania.
Was Dracula one of your students there?
There were some bloodsuckers in there, yes.
All right, Tom, back to you.
Pretty tough for the professor to flunk a student when he can't pick a winner himself, is all I have to say. If you'd like to match wits with Bob and Mike, you can log on to NBCSports.com. In-depth coverage of today's Breeders' Cup action, video replays of each race, and in that online cyber capping, Sightseek, the favorite for 37% of the voters so far. Try to outwit Bob and Mike today at NBCSports.com. Here's a look at Sightseek, the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. First race on today's 8-race, $14 million card. The Breeders' Cup World Thoroughbred Championships are brought to you by Dodge. You can take life as it comes, or you can grab life by the horns. By Bessemer Trust, enhancing private wealth for generations. By Alberto VO5, hair care for real life. And by Nextel, offering you the coast-to-coast walkie-talkie for instant communication. Approaching post time for the first Breeders' Cup race today in the Nextel Distaff. And let's update you on the current odds as Sightseek continues to draw the money. Take Charge Lady 6 to 1, Adoration 35, Lady Tack at 12, By the Sport 35 to 1, Sightseek 3 to 5 favorite, and a lot of money bet on her to show. They call them bridge jumpers, those that want to collect a sure thing by betting to show, risking their money today. Elo Love is 8 to 1 and Got Coco. And Bobby Frankel, with a victory today, has 24 Grade 1 wins this year, which would be an international record. And he has a 3-5 favorite to try to give him that mark. Of course, you remember Bobby went forever without a Breeders' Cup winner. His first 36, he was 0 for 36 until Squirtle Squirt won the sprint at Belmont Park 2 years ago to break the jinx. Last year, of course, he ran 1-2 in the filly and mare turf. And hoping for a big day today. He has favorites in several of the races, and all of them are highly regarded. One horse, Charlesy, that's not getting a whole lot of respect is Take Charge Lady. One of the real predictors for success at the Breeders' Cup has been Keeneland Spinster Stakes. She's won it 2 years in a row.
And this filly has never finished worse than second in her career, except for 2 disastrous Breeders' Cup performances. Last year, she really ran poorly in the distaff. Her trainer, Ken McPeak, changed his tactics this year, decided he was going to train her up to it a little softer and save her best edge for this performance in the Breeders' Cup. Her assistant trainer and exercise rider, Helen Pitts, reports that she really took to this racetrack yesterday, moved better over it than she did at Keeneland. So watch out for Take Charge Lady. She never quits trying.
Been a lot of debate recently about the older mare championship. Azeri had won 11 in a row and had that string broken by Got Coco, giving her weight. Not able to defend her distaff title. Some say that Got Coco could take it with a victory today. Mike Battaglia feels strongly that she cannot. Is that right, Mike?
I really don't think so. I think there's only 2 horses that can win the championship in the distaff division, and that's Azeri and Sightseek. If Sightseek wins today, she gets it. If she doesn't, nobody's done enough to dethrone Azeri. She beat Got Coco at Del Mar. She gave her 9 pounds that day. She beat Take Charge Lady at Oaklawn. She gave her 5 pounds. And the last time out when she got beat, she was spotting Got Coco 10 pounds, and she bled. She's definitely the queen of racing right now. I know she's not here today. If she were, she'd be the short price favorite in here. And I think the only filly that could upset her, or that could dethrone her rather, would be Sightseek if she wins here this afternoon.
Well, Got Coco has defeated them both, but as you said, in Azeri's case, getting a lot of weight. And Bobby Frankel, in addition to that Grade 1 mark, has a chance today to pass the all-time North American earning record in a single year. Frankel has earned $16.6 million. Wayne Lucas set the record in '88 with $17.8 million. And you see on Got Coco, Alex Solis adjusting his goggles. The jockeys must be anticipating too the excitement of the day. Their heart has to be beating 100 miles an hour. And Chelsea, the horses probably pick up on that, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. And there's a huge crowd here today. Their schedule is a little off. They're here early in the morning at 10:30. They know clearly something is very much up. But these are tough veteran fillies. They all are great performers. And the distaff historically has been a really solid performance from these distaffs. 9 winners in the 19 runnings have been the favorite. And that's a mark of consistency with these mares. Certainly Sightseek, who has just been dominating the fillies back east. There's a look at her there. Much has been made of the fact that she's 0 for 3 here at Santa Anita. But Bobby Frankel says they were letting her get too close to the pace when she was running here at Santa Anita, and that's why she got nipped at the end. They've taken her back a little bit now. Jerry Bailey will snug her back off that early pace, and she should come running late. But also Got Coco. She's 5 for 7 here at Santa Anita. These fillies love this track, and they always run their best.
And Sightseek, as you see, 1-2, despite the fact she has never won at Santa Anita. Well, the fillies and mares get a break. The distaff performers out just past 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific time, where it hadn't gotten too hot yet. And Sightseek, the shortest priced distaff favorite since Riboletta at 2-5 back in 2000. And the horses loading into the gate for the Breeders' Cup distaff, and the man who has called every Breeders' Cup race the past 19 years, going for number 20 today, is Tom Durkin. Tom, welcome once again.
Thank you, Tom Hammond. And the final horse moving into line. Got Coco breaking from post position number 7 in this 20th Breeders' Cup distaff. Come on. They're in the gate. In the Breeders' Cup at Santa Anita. And down toward the inside, Adoration breaking alertly today. Lady Tack with some early speed. Take Charge Lady comes away down toward the inside as they move by us for the first time. Adoration takes the early lead. Adoration seizes the early initiative, and here comes Ella Love, who's moving right to her in the early going. Lady Tech right there in the thick of it. Got Coco's up close to the pace today, up but 4 wide, and down toward the inside. Take Charge Lady saving ground all the way, and heavily favored Sightseek takes a position at the back of the Packerly, just to her inside. The opening quarter went in 23 and 1/5 seconds. The pace is strong. The leader is Adoration. Pat Valenzuela trying to nurse her on that lead. She leads by a measured length. Ella Love right there, hard on her heels, running in second. Take Charge Lady is third. Lady Tack is very eager today. She's tugged her way up fourth in between horses, only a length and a half from the lead. Got Coco is remaining in the clear on the outside as they continue down the backstretch run. Gary Bailey has Sightseek 5 lengths from the lead with 4 furlongs to go. They ran a half 47 seconds flat. The field approaching the far turn. It's Adoration. Adoration opens up now, 2.5 lengths on the field, and Lady Tack is giving her cue now. Ella Love driving on the outside. Ella Love is running in second. Lady Tack down to her inside, races in third, and Sightseek is in the midst of her rally, but she's toiling 5 lengths from the lead. Got Coco's under the whip as the field turns for home, chasing Adoration. Adoration comes off the turn, running on strongly, leading by 2.5 lengths. Ella Love is giving chase in second. Lady Tack sputtering down toward the inside. Got Coco, too much to do. Sightseek, not today, and they're coming down to the wire, and it's going to be a wire-to-wire tour de force by Adoration and Pat Valenzuela. 5 resounding lengths to win the opener here. Final time, 1:46 flat. It was 5 lengths back to Ella Love. Farther back, got Coco. Well, they went wire to wire here this afternoon in the opener at Santa Anita. The final time was 1:49 flat. And congratulations for winning jockey Pat Valenzuela, who rode a marvelous race here this afternoon.
Indeed he did, Tom Durkin. P-Val, as they call him in these parts, the leading rider here at the Oak Tree meeting, records his 7th Breeders' Cup victory. And Pat Valenzuela in the midst of a pretty good comeback of his own. He's battled substance abuse throughout his career, apparently has his life straightened out now, and goes to the front, backs them up, and wins at 40-1. Is this a sign of things to come today? A huge upset in the first Breeders' Cup race.
There was a pertinent change of equipment here with Adoration. Trainer David Hoffmans, who gave us Alphabet Soup to win the Classic some years back, removed the blinkers from Adoration. He fussed at P-Val for rating her strongly last time out. He said relax and let her just relax along on the lead. Don't fight with her. He didn't, and look what happened.
Adoration and Patrick Valenzuela, winner of the Breeders' Cup Distaff. A great story. P-Val on his comeback, his first Breeders' Cup win since 1992. This is a 4-year-old filly by Honor Grades out of Sewing Lady by Key to the Mint, bred in Kentucky by Lucy Bassett, Mrs. Ted Bassett, the former chairman of Keeneland and of the Breeders' Cup. Let's go down to Trevor Denman now to analyze the race. And Trevor, at the start, things got a little tough for the favorite Sightseek.
They sure did, Tom, and that's one of the problems with being a hot favorite. Every jockey in the race is looking for you, and if this horse at 3-5, you know that Corey Nakatani in the blue cap, look at that, breaks a little inward. They don't give Jerry Bailey not half an inch. They all keep him tight in there. They know if we can beat the 3-5 front, we enhance our chances of winning. So it wasn't a bad bump, and then right here, Jerry Bailey, you can see him on the pink cap on the outside. You see the whip starting to go out. He's only tapping her on the neck. There it's twice, and there's just nothing from Sightseek. Look at those ears. They pin back. She's struggling. You can see she's grounding into the ground. They're trying to grab at the sand to pick herself up, but she just does not have it this afternoon. And right here, she just throws in the towel and says, sorry guys, not today. Here's Adoration on the lead. Aloe Love, a game run on the outside. These two California fillies, normally Aloe Love would have got to Adoration, but today was Adoration's day. Look at that, just sheer determination. Pat Valenzuela yelling at her, just keeping her mind on the business, and coming home a very, very good winner at odds of 40-1. What an upset. Kenny?
Jerry.
Thanks, Trevor. I'm with Jerry Bailey, the man aboard Sightseek today. We saw the start of the race where it looked like, did you get pinned back? Did you not get the kind of start you were looking for? Jerry, tell me about it.
The start was fine, but, 50 yards out of there, everybody's getting in position. Kind of got squeezed behind the other horse, which was fine. That's about where I wanted to be going in the first turn anyway. But, turning up the backside, I got in the clear and just really had nothing today.
Went out fairly crisp, and then you get a 47 flat at the half mile. You realize then, I'm sure you're the master of having that clock in your head, that Valenzuela was out there trying to steal this thing.
Well, that's why I moved out in the clear down the backside, as we turned up, so I could have a clear run, but I didn't have any horse to creep up there with.
Just didn't like it today.
Well, she hadn't won on Santa Anita yet. I guess streak continued.
All right, thanks for your time. Good luck the rest of the way. Jerry Bailey, the man who was aboard Sightseek. As he said, she just didn't have it today, stopping her winning streak here. Tom?
All right, Kenny, here are the official prices. Look at the price on Adoration, and notice that show price. We told you about all the bridge jumpers, they call them. Well, there might be some of them jumping. They all bet to show on Sightseek, which sort of skews the show prices here in the race for the others that got there. And for David Hoffman's, his second Breeders' Cup victory, he won with Alphabet Soup in Toronto, beating Cigar, the 3-5 favorite in the 96 Classic. Let's go down to Mike Battaglia for the official presentation.
Well, the day starts with just a huge upset in the distaff. Adoration under a great ride by Pat Valenzuela. In front all the way, John Ammerman, the trainer, or the owner, David Hoffman's the trainer, to make the presentation. Mark Schweitzer, he's from Nextel, and Mark, you do the honors.
What a great win. At Nextel, we pride ourselves on helping customers get things done, and it is our great pleasure to present you with the trophy for the 2003 Distaff Championships. Congratulations.
Thank you so very much, but really thanks go to David Hoffman, the trainer, and Pat Valenzuela for figuring out a great game plan and executing it terrifically well. Thank you.
That's very well spoken. And David, this filly has been doing great all week. You were schooling her in the paddock yesterday, talked about how great she looked, and she ran to it today. She was beaten by a couple of these same ones last time out. Turned the tables this afternoon.
Yeah, it was her third race off of a layoff, and she was coming up to this just right. She needed her last race, had a little trouble in the stretch, and Pat and I figured with a little more fitness and a better trip, we could have been right there.
Yeah.
So we were happy, and our game plan was to go to the front and let them catch us, and they couldn't.
Worked out perfect, and what a huge win. Comeback win in the Breeders' Cup for Pat Valenzuela. Just absolutely great. And what a ride. Did you think you'd get the lead that easy?
Well, there was no doubt about it. David had told me to put her on the lead to take advantage of the race, that everybody would foresee us being on the lead, and we took advantage of it. She rated very kindly, and when I asked her at the corporal, she accelerated very, very strongly. David did a terrific job in getting this mare ready today, and I just got to give him the credit and thank the Lord that I'm able to be on the horse.
But what's it feel like to be back in the winner's circle here for the Breeders' Cup?
Oh, it's just awesome. It's awesome, and to have my family here, my wife Valerie, and my daughter Callie, my mom, my sister, my brother-in-law. It's just an awesome feeling to be here and be part of this great game. Great game. We're very blessed.
Well, congratulations, David. Congratulations. What an upset to start the day, Tom. Adoration in front all the way.
And Patrick Valenzuela, how about that smile in the winner's circle? How about that celebration as he crossed the finish line in front? He nursed her home with no problem. Here's the official order of finish. And remember, P-Val in the very first Breeders' Cup, Hollywood Park 1984, disqualified in the juvenile fillies on Franz Valentine at 74-1. No problem today. He gets Adoration home at 40-1. The official order of finish. Sightseek, a disappointment today. And as you always say here at the Breeders' Cup, just as you digest one great race, another one is about to unfold, and the horse is already coming to the paddock for the next race, which is the juvenile fillies. So the first race of the day in the books, as Bobby Frankel fails to record that 24th Grade 1 stakes win. He figures prominently the rest of the day too. Next up, the juvenile fillies. Julie Crone, in the midst of an amazing comeback, rides unbeaten half bridle, but the outside post position may be too much to overcome. Then to the grass course for the first time in the mile. Special Ring carries the hopes of popular trainer Julio Canani. Next, the sprint, all out 3/4 of a mile. Frankel has two of the favorites, Aldebaran and Midas Eyes. In the filly and mare turf, Frankel mounts a major challenge with 3 highly regarded entries: Tate's Creek, Heat Haze, and Megahertz. The best 2-year-old colt in the land, Cuvée makes his case in the juvenile. As usual, the turf is the U.S. versus Europe, with Gary Stevens getting back up on Storming Home, the horse that unseated him in the Arlington Million, causing serious injury. And finally, $4 million up for grabs in the Classic. Funny Side tackles older horses for the first time, but ridden by Julie Crone. Regular jockey Jose Santos will be aboard last year's upset winner, Volpone.
And it's going to be a huge upset. 40-1 on the wire. Volpone scores in the Classic.
So a wonderful afternoon of racing underway with a big upset in the first race, and some familiar faces in the juvenile fillies coming up. That, of course, is Bob Baffert. He has 2 fillies in the next race, Victory USA and Class Above, highly regarded. And we'll also get our first look this afternoon at Julie Crone loosening up in the jockey's room. She'll be riding the favorite Half Bridled in the juvenile fillies. And let's check the odds as they're going right now for the Breeders' Cup juvenile fillies. Dixie High at 40, Shadow of Mine a big long shot, Hollywood Story Forest Music at 4-1, a Shadow 13-1, Society Selection at 3-1 play, Class Above is at 4-1, Victory USA 8, Renaissance Lady 35-1, Vino Tinto 70, Zosima 22, Tarlo is 40, Be Gentle 25, and Half Bridled currently at 9-2. Maybe the fans don't like that outside post. We'll be right back. A look at Julie Crone inside the jocks room at Santa Anita, and it's certainly been an interesting past 4 years for her. After a Hall of Fame riding career that included a win in the '93 Belmont Stakes, she retired from racing, losing her focus and passion for the sport in April 1999. She soon got married, moved to California. She tried her hand working on TV, even took up surfing, but none of it could fill the void she had discovered. And just about a year ago, her bug for riding returned. She has since written one of racing's most compelling comeback stories, highlighted by a rise to the top of the jockey standings here in Southern California. Throughout the afternoon, we'll chronicle a day in the life of Julie Crone, beginning here with a trip to her home.
Okay, let's try. Oh, sit down beside me. Okay, ready, Kiko? Being an athlete, your head gets so full sometimes. So when you get to relax and have things that you don't think about anything. I like to do my puzzle, and I like to, as bad as it is, I'm learning how to play the harmonica, so. Good girl. I'm just blessed and to have a lot of energy and be healthy. I think about that sometimes, like, oh yeah, I better slow down a little. Up there, Smiley, in case I win all the good in the winner's circle. Let's go. Keep it on the highway, let's go. Let's go. This year's been very, very exciting. My summer was just spectacular. I didn't really set any goals for myself when I came back. I really stayed in the moment and said, you know, I'm going to go see this trainer and learn about this person and meet this person. There she is. It's like selling used cars, kind of, you know. You have to go out there and really sell yourself and say, ride me on this horse. Come on, let me get on this horse. And that's what I did a lot of. Everything's been going very well. I just enjoy it. Like every day when I wake up, I know, and I'm thinking, you know, oh, I get to go out and ride thoroughbred racehorses again. They're just so incredible, and it's such a great job. I think everyone has something that they have to overcome. Anybody can feel sorry for themselves or focus on whatever it is that sets them aside. But I never felt like that because I love the horses so much.
And there is Julie, who will be riding half bridle. We'll be following Julie throughout the day. A day at the races with Julie will be coming up a little later on. She's riding half bridle in the outside post position 14 for the unbeaten filly. And a look at Bob Baffert, who has 2 fillies in the race, and Mike Battaglia is down there.
All right, thanks, Tom. And with Bob Baffert, who's saddling 2 horses for the race for the juvenile fillies. And it really wouldn't be a Triple Crown or a Breeders' Cup without having Bob Baffert here, Bob. I know you always gear up toward these big days. What's a day like this mean to you?
Well, it's huge. I mean, the Kentucky Derby is a big day, but Breeders' Cup, that's what we're all here for. And we buy all these young horses, and it's Day of Champions. Everybody's here, the top trainers, top jockeys, and just to make it this far and have a contender is a thrill. So I'm just glad we're here.
And you're saddling 2-year-old fillies in this one, Victory USA and Class Above. You told me you like them equally.
I think these fillies in here can beat the boys coming up later on.
Really?
But I think Class Above, Victory USA, we don't know how good Class Above is, but we still have to deal with Half Bridle and some other fillies in there. So, you know, that long shot won right now. So I think these jockeys are going to be thinking maybe they need to place their horses a little bit closer. So we'll see what happens.
Well, when the favorite Half Bridle drew the outside, you know more about this track than a lot of people. How tough is it to win from post 14 here?
Well, nobody ever draws 14 here, only during the Breeders' Cup.
How tough?
I know it can be tough, but a good horse can overcome it. So we'll just see what happens.
And you consecrate in the 2-year-old, the juvenile later on, and then Congaroo, your big horse from the Classic.
We got a full day, and I just hope we hit the target there a couple times. We need a couple of bullseyes.
A couple of bullseyes, like I said. Wouldn't be a big day without Bob Baffert. Thanks, Bob.
All right, thank you.
You're right, Mike, and Julie Crone will have to start from that post 14. Yeah, normally they don't have this many horses in a race at Santa Anita. Charles, see how difficult is it to break from the outside on a speed favoring track like Santa Anita? We saw the first winner go wire to wire.
Well, it's not going to help a lot. She can overcome it, but it'll take some doing. Half Bridle is a very large filly, but she's very quick. She's decimated all these fillies in her 3 starts out here. It has been done from post 14. Pleasant Stage did it back in '91, but you saw what happened to Sightseek. They're not going to give her any breaks trying to get position going into that first turn, but this is a filly for all her size. She's very agile, and she's got a lot of gears. Julie can kind of step on and off the gas at will, so if she has to do this from post 14, she's on the right filly to do it.
Another interesting filly in here, Charles C. Society Selection, who won the Frisette at Belmont Park and ships to Santa Anita with her Hall of Fame trainer, Alan Jerkin, 74 years old, having his first horse in the Breeders' Cup in quite a while. In fact, his first here since 1994.
Well, she won the Frisette in only her 2nd lifetime start, so that was quite a step up from just a maiden race sprinting. She's by Coronado's Quest, who certainly indicates she wants to go around 2 turns. And the feeling has been all along that the West Coast fillies are better than the East Coast fillies, but she was able to beat one of the best West Coast fillies in Bob Baffert's filly Victory USA, so you've got to put her in the middle of this.
And now it's time for our next tale, Call to the Post. And Julie Crone with a leg up. Actually, that is Vino Tinto with Ryan Fogelsonger. And there's Julie coming up in a moment. And just interesting, Charles, I was just looking at the tote board in the infield here. Half Bridle was 7-5 on the morning line, but currently an overlay at 7-2. That has to be that outside post that's bothering the bettors.
Well, maybe they got stung a little bit losing their money on Sightseek at the first race, so they're going to be a little more cautious with the heavy chalk here. But as I said, I think if any filly can do this from the outside, Half Bridle can. But there are several long shots in here, very interesting and need to be looked at, and we'll do that in a minute. But she certainly knows cinch. But a lovely filly she is, and has won all her races with her ears pricked with absolutely utmost ease. And Julie has a real rapport with her, so they'll be tough even from that disadvantageous post.
And her trainer Dick Mandella has been high in his praise of everything this unbeaten filly has accomplished thus far. What we saw in the first race, the Santa Anita track that favors speed, especially in hot weather. True to form, as Adoration went wire to wire. And for these 2-year-old fillies, a lot of this is a new experience. Certainly the size of the crowd, all the hoopla. For some of them, going around 2 turns is a new experience too. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle it. Some of them can really become unsettled as they come out onto the track and see all that's going on.
I have to agree, though, with what Bob Baffert said. I think these fillies could probably beat the colts who'll be running later. Fillies are generally more precocious than the boys, but this is a very, very talented group of fillies, and you can go down to the 8 and 10 and 12 to 1 shots here and have a filly who's going to make quite a name for herself. This is a good group.
Unbridled down to 3 to 1 now, but not the odds-on favorite that many thought. In fact, before the post position draw, many were saying she would be the heaviest favorite of the day, but not so. After drawing that outside post position, as it stands now, she would be the longest price favorite in juvenile filly history at 3 to 1. Juvenile fillies, it's for 2-year-old fillies. Grade 1 race at 1 mile and a 16th, carries a purse of $1 million. Number 1, Dixie High, Australian-born former steeplechase jockey Adam Kitchingman trains the long shot to his 1-2 of 3 against lesser competition. Number 2, Shadow of Mine, another long shot, bred and owned by Omaha resident Thomas Nichols, only has a maiden win. Number 3, Hollywood Story, has never won in 3 starts, but she is stakes place with potential, ridden by Patrick Valenzuela, who won the first race on Adoration. Number 4 is Force Music. Trainer Mark Schumann broke the Gulfstream Victories mark last winter. This filly won her only start in Maryland. No horse has ever won a Breeders' Cup race after only 1 prior start. Number 5, Ashado. Todd Pletcher also broke records this year, in his case at Saratoga, where Ashado won the Schuylerville and Spinaway, but then faltered in the 1 mile and a 16th Frisette. Number 6, the aforementioned Society selection, the 74-year-old Hall of Fame trainer Alan Jerkins, the Giant Killer, making his first Breeders' Cup appearance since '94. He is 0 for 5 at the Cup, but this unbeaten filly, winner of the Frisette, could change all that. 7, as you see, class above, saddled by Bob Baffert, 2 for 2 with a dominant 16-length victory in the Kentucky Cup Juvenile Fillies. 8, Victory USA, also a Baffert horse, owned by Kentucky Bloodstock and sales agent Tom Van Meter. Only 1 win, but in the money in 2 Grade 1 stakes races. Number 9, Renaissance Lady, gives young Tyler Bays his first Breeders' Cup mount. Bob and Beverly Lewis have owned a couple of Breeders' Cup winners, and Wayne Lucas, the all-time leading Cup trainer. But this lady has only 1 win in 7 starts, the most experienced filly in the race. Number 10, Vino Tinto, purchased last week by Triple B Farms. She's won a pair of 6 furlong races at Louisiana Downs. Number 11 is Zosima, has the saddle services of Pat Day, who has won this race twice. Owned by the Darley stable of Sheikh Mohammed, the Crown Prince of Dubai. She's won 3 of 4. And number 12 is Tarlo. This filly ran off with jockey Mike Smith before the Oakleaf Stakes. She still finished second to half bridled. She does have a race over this Santa Anita track. That's the field for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies. As we look at Be Gentle. Be Gentle, we don't want to forget her. That's another Lucas trainee, owned by Tom Van Meter, who has Victory USA with Baffert. Winner of Keeneland's Darley Alcibiades by 5.5. And of course, number 14 is Half Bridle. Won all 3 of her starts by a combined 19 lengths. That's how brilliant she has been. But the fans not convinced today with that outside post position, post 14. We'll see how the handicappers assess that post 14. Bob and Mike.
Thanks, Tom. And, you know, the Madman tried to pick against the favorite in the distaff. He just didn't get mad enough. You should have really gone for the bullet.
Well, second place wasn't bad for an 8 to 1
wasn't
shot.
bad for an 8 to 1. You know what, though? The juvenile fillies is usually a pretty formful race. 9 out of the 19 runnings have gone to the favorite. Half Bridled is the favorite right now at 5 to 2, but the 14 post is going to be tough.
Yeah, that'll be very difficult to win from there. there. My choice here is Society's Selection for a couple of reasons. Number one, her trainer, Alan Jerkins, is the best trainer in the world never to have won a Breeders' Cup race. He's been in the Hall of Fame for some 40 years, can come off the pace, and with Half Bridle saddled with that outside post, I like the way she can rate and come off the pace, as she did in the Frizette Stakes at Belmont Park, Mike, with Ray Ganpath. So I like that closing style that she showed here in winning the Frizette, which has been a very popular race for graduates to win this Juvenile Fillies.
And you know what? I agree with you. I thought that was a very, very powerful race. And I think something will win from off the pace, too. You heard Baffert mention that after that first race, when Patrick Valenzuela stole the race on the front end with the slow fractions, he thinks they'll be gunning to the lead this race. So I think Class Above can lay right back off of the early leaders. There's a shot of Class Above, David Flores. Baffert did the same thing with Vindication as he's doing with this horse. He ran Vindication at Turfway Park in the Kentucky Cup around 2 turns. He came to Arlington and won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's doing it with Class Above today. She came to Turfway, she won the Fillies race, and she's here in the Juvenile Fillies. I think she'll be coming from off the pace. I think that she's going to be very tough. There's a shot of Half Bridle under Julie Crone. Charles, he mentioned she's a big filly. That outside post, I definitely think she's the best horse in here, but I think she's going to have to be much the best, Bob, to win from post 14.
And we said it was nice and cool here when it started, but we're getting a little heated up here. This is getting to be about 95 degrees down here in the winner's circle. Tom, back to you. Wow.
All right, guys. Well, if you want to, again, match your selections against Bob and Mike, log on to NBCSports.com. Outside post not bothering the cyber cappers too much. 30% of them say she will win despite post 14. Her odds keep going down slowly but surely. She's at 5-2 for the Juvenile Fillies.
Watching my horse win the Kentucky Derby was a special moment for me. As a supporter of Ronald McDonald House Charities, I've seen many other special moments. Houses like this one provide a home away from home for the families of seriously ill children who are being treated at nearby hospitals. As a thoroughbred owner, I'm proud that the NTRA Charities has created a national program to support Ronald McDonald Houses and to help kids all across America.
Welcome back to Santa Anita as the Juvenile Fillies making their way toward the starting gate for the second Breeders' Cup race of the day. Let's check the odds. Forest Music, some support at 6-1. Society Selection at 5. Class Above second choice 7-2. We told you that Half Bridle's odds had been slowly going down. They're down to 2-1 now. Half Bridle 2-1 favorite in the outside post position. And Society Selection, trained by Alan Jerkins, will be ridden by Ray Ganpath, a 30-year-old native of Trinidad. Rarely rides. He's 5'9". He towers over the other jockeys. There he is with Julie Crone in the jocks room. 5'9", but he does 111 pounds. 30-year-old native of Trinidad who works full-time for the trainer Alan Jerkins. 15 wins and 82 rides this year for Ray Ganpath, who is aboard Society Selection. Bob, will that lack of experience in big races be a problem?
Well, what's interesting about Alan Jerkins is he often uses rather obscure riders. He doesn't care. I mean, he likes Ray Ganpath. You mentioned he's from Trinidad. His father owned a couple of apartment buildings. One was rented to a jockey. That's actually how Ray got into the sport. He's only 7 wins in his life. He's never, believe it or not, of Stanton, Delaware. And here he is in Arcadia, California, riding for the big money. Jerkins could have had Gary Stevens, other big name riders that were available, had open mounts for this Juvenile filly. No, he's loyal. He likes to go with these little known riders, and Ray Ganpath gets the assignment on a filly that I think has a big shot in this Juvenile filly race.
All right, Bob, and earlier in our Julie Crone feature, we saw her pal, Donna Brothers. She is reunited with her pal, Cisco, the horse. Everybody behaving in this parade to the post?
Tom, absolutely. What a good-looking bunch of horses in this race. You know, I'll tell you what, you mentioned earlier about the riders getting a little nervous. As soon as they get in that starting gate and sit there and look down the track, all those nerves go out the window, and they're all here to play. Tom. All
right, Donna. And the horses do begin to load into the starting gate, and the 2-1 favorite continues to be Half Bridle in post 14. Here's Zosima.
She's a little bit overlooked in the windows there. She won the Arlington Lassie, and her trainer Owen Hardy upset this race with another overlooked filly in Tempera a few years ago.
A mile and a 16th, and you see some of the fillies a little hot already as they load into the starting gate. Breeders' Cup Juvenile fillies, $1 million. The purse is the purse. A mile and a 16th is the distance. And as they load in, let's send it back upstairs to Tom Durkin for the call of the race.
Waiting for class above, Be Gentle and Half Bridled. There is the prodigious Half Bridled and her pixie of a partner, Julie Crone, taking post position number 14. But 1 furlong run to the first turn here at Santa Anita. They are in the gate.
Wait a minute.
And they're off. Dixie High hustles out of there, and there goes Forest Music, seizing the initiative early as Shadow comes away running in second. Half Bridled stuck out there 4 wide, and Victory USA comes on through between horses as they race into the clubhouse turn, chasing Forest Music. Forest Music out there by a length and a half. Victory USA now second on the outside as Shadow down toward the inside running in third. Vino Tinto 3 wide fourth. Hollywood Story is now fifth, and Julie Crone has Half Bridled right there in the middle of the pack. She's sixth and in the clear on the outside. Carlo is 4 wide and running along in seventh. Then it's Dixie High, who's eighth toward the inside, followed by Class Above. Running in ninth, Renaissance Lady. Be Gentle on the outside. She's running in 11th position, only about 6 or 7 lengths from the lead. And then the long shot Shadow of Mine, followed by Zozima, who has only 1 horse beaten, and that is Easterner Society Selection, the last of 14. The quarter 22 and 4, the half in 46 and 4.